Shalom, ladies and gentlemen. Today, as always, we'll be talking about our weekly Torah portion, not as always, because today we're reading Parshas Vayechi, life of Yaakov, and with this Parsha completes the first book of Torah, book Bereshit, and this is why I hope to see you in Altshul or at Yoshul, and we will all scream Chazak, Chazak, we need Chazak, as customary we do at the end, at the conclusion of the reading of the book of Torah. It's obviously a question that asked by many commentaries by the weekly Torah portion that called Life talks about death of Yaakov. There are different explanations to this, but I want to bring a little bit of mind speculation. Why? Because me as a rabbi of a congregation, it's an undetachable part of what I have to do practically on a daily basis. It's to officiate funerals. A main part of rabbi, according to Halacha, Jewish law, must do at the funeral to give the words of inspiration that we called eulogy, incorporate words of Torah and connect it to the life of the person that passed away. And I always was interested, what was the eulogy that was said at our father's Yaakov funeral almost 3,500 years ago. Again, this is completely my speculation, but almost always the fast of 10th of Tevet that happens this week falls on the weekly Torah portion of Vayechi. And maybe there is a connection. Maybe this is a fast that kind of gives a message of the eulogy of our father Yaakov, and a message and a lesson from his life story. The fast of 10th of Tevet, it's a very important fast. It's just strangely, but it's more important than others, because every other fast, besides Yom Kippur is not really a fast, it's a holiday. If it falls on Shabbat, as you probably know, we postpone it on Sunday. Only Asara B'Tevet, we fast on Shabbat, not actually on Shabbat, but it falls on Friday. Then we continue to fast even when Shabbat begins. So catch a little bit from Shabbat. Why? Because this is a very important fast. Even the historical event that we mainly commemorated with this fast is the beginning of the siege of the king of Nabuchodonosor on Jerusalem, that later brought to destruction of the temple. Yes, later the destruction of the first temple that we still didn't recover from until now. We commemorate 9th of Av in memory of this tragic event. But the siege didn't bring any tragedy. It took a long time until the walls of the very good fortified Jerusalem were breached. But what this fast teaches us, and gives it extreme importance, is that we have to learn to identify the results at the beginning of the process. As our sages in the book of the Ethics of Our Fathers said, who is the wise person? The one who sees the birth of something new, meaning knows to identify the process and the result of it. Not really predict the future, but use your intellect to understand the outcome. And this is such an important thing to understand, to learn right away in the beginning what could be outcome, and not to cloud our mind with illusions like even in our modern history, when we think that we will give up a little bit more land, a little bit more land of Israel, and give some more presents and goodies to our enemies, this will end. No, as we know, the terrible events of the Simchat Torah 2 years ago, October 7th, those were the results of the policy where we were ready to give up something to our enemies and hoping for good. You don't need to be a great scholar to understand that when you give autonomy and the weaponry to our enemies, they will turn against you sooner or later. And one of the definitely scholars and wise people, Dr. Sodi Namir, who the famous video when he was dragged out of his clinic in Gaza, he said, they will come and start to slaughter us in Sderot, not here, in Sderot. He said these words 20 years before the events of October 7th. He saw the outcome. He saw the beginning of the process, which actually started much earlier, that will result in tragedy. This is a eulogy of our father Yaakov. This is a life message of our father Yaakov. As Shlomo Melech says in the book of Kohelet, you rather go to the house of mourning than to the house of the feast. You rather go, as our commentators explain, listen to the eulogy and learn the lesson. Our father Yaakov was called by God Israel, one who is ready to stand up and fight, who is ready to protect his land and his identity, one that knows that you have to fight for being a Jew in the Holy Land and not to give up. Then you will always will be able to identify the process and the later outcome. May we all live in peace and stay strong against our enemies. Thank you very much. Good luck. I see you next week.